Hello. So in this podcast, unfortunately, it's going to be a bit of a quick one today, but what I wanted to do is kind of just introduce you to automation. So this short podcast is going to be about an introduction to automation and kind of get your mind kind of exploring some ideas about how you can start automating parts of your flooring business. Now, I use automation a lot in my own business and also in my clients' businesses as well. And especially probably about the last year or so, for me, automation has just completely transformed my business in terms of, how much money I'm making because I'm more efficient. Just how fast I can get things done. Perhaps not necessarily needing services and staff that I might have done in the past. I'm still using obviously staff and things like that, but it has meant that I've been able to kind of cut back on certain things that are perhaps kind of repetitive and I didn't necessarily need an actual human to do. So I kind of want to give you some ideas as to how you can kind of introduce automation into your business. And really, like, this is a very, very basic introduction to it. I do plan to go a lot deeper into it in the future, because there's some other software that I use to actually create other types of automations, and it's the kind of things you can do on it is going to kind of blow your mind, really. But really just to answer a few of the main questions that I've put up here. So at the end of this, I'm going to just go through a few basic automations that I've created that you can kind of use to generate some ideas for your own business. But essentially, what is it? So automation is automating any kind of repetitive task, task that basically doesn't necessarily need a human to do it. And it's becoming more and more sophisticated. There's even kind of bots and things like that can close sales for you. Chat bots on your website, all of that kind of stuff. So it's getting to the point where some of the things that you would have thought needs a human to do it, it doesn't necessarily need that anymore. So when I say automation, I am kind of also talking about AI and things like that as well. But so automation is a very, very kind of broad topic which covers things like AI and stuff like that. But you can automate your processes. You can automate things that you don't necessarily like doing all the time. It's pretty, because it's so broad, it is kind of hard to kind of exactly say what it is that you can and can't do. But hopefully, like I say, in this video, I'm going to give you some ideas. So what are the benefits of it? The benefits of it are that you're going to get a lot more time back. Some things that may have taken you a few hours or even days to do in the past could be done in literally a matter of minutes. The other thing is it's going to save you money, because if you can get those tasks done in half the time, with using an automation as opposed to an actual person, that's saving you money on someone's wages or time that you would have to dedicate to that. You've got to also think about some of these things that you can build automations for. You would normally have to train people to actually do it. So you'd have to, if you did some of these automations manually, you'd literally have to sit down and train these people how to do it. You'd have to create SOPs and all that kind of stuff, and actually sit them down and show them how to do it. And then another thing that you're doing when you do things manually, or you get your staff to do things manually, you're relying on them to actually do that process how you need it to be done every time. Whereas with an automation, you know that it's going to get done in the exact way that it needs to be done. So really, I mean, to be honest, the main benefits is saving you time, saving you money, and then also something else you need to think about is scalability as well. When you're building automations, generally they are very, very scalable. Whereas if you was to obviously increase a certain operation within your business that had to be done manually, that is not going to be that scalable without obviously hiring more staff and resources and things like that. So generally, the two main things, like I say, is going to be money and time. But there are obviously a lot of other benefits, in terms of getting the job done right every time and stuff like that. Now, obviously, a flooring company is a very hands-on kind of job. People have got to go out and fit flooring and things like that. And people have to come into your showroom to look at the flooring and all that kind of stuff. But, the kind of tasks that I'm talking about are things like customer service, just like sales follow-up. It's like actually creating content for your business. There's just all sorts of things, accountancy, any kind of admin work, all of the kind of the things that you don't necessarily like doing. And if you're, an automation can help anyone from a one-man band flooring company. So you're just one bloke on your own, goes out, does all the sales, does all the fitting yourself, might subcontract a few people or whatever. It will help you with your operations, and it will also help even the largest companies. And I can guarantee that there's a hell of a lot of companies out there, a hell of a lot of flooring companies that do not implement any kind of automation into their business, and they're living 20 years in the past at the moment. Just by looking at people's websites, I can tell they're not up with technology, and there's a lot of kind of, sorry to say it, but there's a lot of dinosaurs in the flooring industry. So with automation, you're going to be one step ahead of a lot of your competitors if you start implementing some of these things. So let's just, like I say, I obviously want to keep this one relatively short. So I've kind of clarified a little bit what it is and what the benefits are in the best way I can anyway, because like I say, it's such a broad topic. But let's actually look at some of the things that you can automate. So I'm only going to give you an introduction into automation. Like I say, there's a lot more things you can do, but these are some of the basic automations that I've kind of built out initially. So the automations that I've built out are things that cover these different topics here. So you can see we've got case studies, we've got fitting, we've got landing pages, nurture, promotions, reviews, and sales. So we start with the case studies. So one of the things that you can do is, firstly, you can set yourself what I do anyway to clients is I set them a reminder email, which basically this email will send out every week, and it will just remind them that they need to submit case studies to the form. And then when they submit the case studies, you can then get the information they've provided to then actually write into a complete case study. So, what you can do, you can create a form that's got different points of information that you need from the client or from yourself. It might be what's the type of flooring, how long did it take, what was the customer's reaction, all of these kind of things that you would kind of expect to kind of see from a case study. And then once they submit that form, you can then automate the process of actually writing that into a full case study, as long as you've got all of the information there. So you can use AI to write this case study into a full readable case study using the information that you've provided. So like I say, the first automation is reminding them to actually submit this information on a weekly basis. And then the second part of it is to actually get the case study written to the point that it could be put onto your site. Because a lot of people in the flooring industry, they don't probably enjoy writing. They don't probably enjoy, obviously I'm generalizing a bit, but then a lot of people do not enjoy sitting down writing case studies, because they're in the flooring industry generally because they're a very hands-on kind of person, and they're not necessarily the kind of person that wants to sit down and write case studies, blog articles, content for the website, anything like that. So, but one thing that I can't do is I cannot write a case study for someone, because I don't I wouldn't know the ins and outs of the job. Whereas the business owner or the person that's fitted the job, they will know the ins and outs of that job. They will know the reaction from the customer. They will know the the intricacies of that particular job, things that went wrong, things that went really well. Obviously, I'm not saying to put things that go wrong on your case study, but the point is, if you understand the different pieces of information that need to go into a case study to actually make it into a good one, once you submit that information, you can then create a really good case study just from a few different data points. So that's really the first basic automation that I've created. So as you can see, the first thing they do is they get a case study reminder. Then the next thing is to actually submit the form. Once that form is submitted, then that goes off to another automation that I've built, which will then actually write the case study into a readable case study that can go onto your website. The next one that I've built is a fitting automation. So basically, a little bit like when you get a delivery and you get a text message to say that your delivery will be with you at a certain time of the day, obviously to try and make sure that you're in and to remind you that your parcel is due for delivery today. First of all, you're going to get an email confirmation. Then you're going to get perhaps another follow-up email to say like it's been dispatched out of the actual depot. And then generally on the day you're going to get a text message to say your package is out for delivery. So, if you think about when you order something, you probably get around about 3 emails now, and this is more or less, from what I've seen, more or less standard for more or less every kind of courier company out there, especially in the UK anyway. But you generally get around about 3 emails from the courier company. You get the one to say that it's been it's been dispatched. You get one to say it's in the depot, and you get one to give you a delivery date, and then you get one text message on the day of the delivery. So you get 4 kind of interactions all the way up until the actual package is delivered. And that's kind of the same thing that I've emulated with the job fitting automation here. So basically what you would do is you would submit the you would submit the job into the calendar. So basically once you submit the job into the calendar, it's triggered, that is the trigger, and then what it does is it then pulls it into this automation here. It then update the opportunity. So basically, something else that I can kind of show you in a minute is the pipeline. So basically, you will be able to see where that customer is on the kind of in your kind of process. So for example, you'll see that their job's been booked in for fitting. You'll see that the job's now been fitted. You'll see that you now need to request a review or something like that. So it updates that the client wherever they are in that point, and then it tags them. So tagging is quite important for kind of managing clients and things like that, because if you tag a client fitting booked, then that's where they are in that stage. Later on down the line, you might want to tag them saying fitted, and then again that client has now had their flooring fitted, and you can obviously later down the line you can filter out all of the clients that have had flooring fitted, and you can just double check that you've created, you've requested reviews from them, or you can double check that you've put them into a long-term nurture sequence or something like that. But tagging, this is a whole different thing. But a CRM is where you manage all of your contacts. And if you use tags and stuff like that and notes and things like that on your contacts, then it makes it a lot easier to kind of remarket to them later on. Makes it a lot easier to kind of sort through them, understand what clients have bought what, and then you can kind of come up with marketing strategies and things like that to kind of remarket to them, or whatever it is that you need to do. Offer them better customer service or something like that, or try and get more reviews. Whatever it is, if you're organising your contacts in a really logical way, then it's going to be much easier for your flooring business in the long run, especially as you're starting to build up more and more jobs, and you're starting to get a much larger kind of customer base. So yeah, obviously it's really important that we tag them. The first thing that we do is we basically let them know that their appointment has been booked. So very simply, we just obviously say thanks for choosing them. Obviously these fields here will auto-populate with your business name. So for example, custom values company name, that would auto-populate with your business name. So it could be Bob's Flooring. Thanks for choosing Bob's Flooring for your flooring needs, and then your new flooring is due to be fitted on, and then it tells you the appointment day, the start date, the time slot, and then when it starts and the end time sort of thing. So one thing that I've heard from flooring companies in the past is it is very hard for them to kind of give like a very specific time slot. So they can't necessarily say, right, you're booked in for 12 o'clock, because they're not always likely to make it for 12 o'clock, because they might have had a job prior to that. Whereas a time slot, you could just say, right, well, we're going to do 2 time slots. We're going to do an AM and a PM. So an AM might be 8 AM or 7 AM till, well, probably 8 AM if it's residential, 8 AM till 12, and then a PM might be 12 PM till 5, whatever it is. But the point is, they're going to get a rough idea of when you're actually going to be turning up, so they make sure that they're actually in and they're actually prepared for what it is that you need to do. So I'm not going to go through all of this email, I'm not going to read it all out to you, but basically we're just trying to give them as much information as possible. And then one thing that I have done as well is here, this bit here is actually going to link to a page on your website, which is the floor fitting guideline. So if there are certain things that you want the customer to do before you turn up, then this page here is where you'd put it all. So basically what's going to happen is they're going to get this email to say that their flooring has been booked in for the dates and the times and stuff like that. and then there's going to be a link here to a page on your website which has got all of your fitting guidelines on it, and then you can basically stipulate what it is that you need them to do before you turn up, whether that's getting furniture out the room, whether it's making you a cup of tea or something like that. But whatever it is, you can have a little laugh on there if you wanted to. But the point is, you're trying to get people to you're trying to make your job as easy as possible, and you're trying to give the customer the best kind of experience as possible. And there's not many small local flooring companies that even do this kind of thing, just sending out some messages in the run up to the actual appointment. So that's the first email. So then what happens is we wait 5 minutes, and because emails are not necessarily always the best things to reach customers on, or anyone on in that for that matter, because it could end up in the spam. People might not check their emails, whatever it is. We then send a text, and a text is always, probably 90% of the time, always going to get through to the customer, and they're probably more than 90% to be fair, but it's always going to get through to the customer, and they're going to see this text message from you. And again, it's going that little extra mile that other companies aren't necessarily doing. So yeah, and you can see this message here is just letting them know that we've sent an email, and that's got more information on the email, because obviously in the email we can add links and things like that and just give them a little bit more information than you would do in a text. So yeah, we continue on down the line. We're updating the opportunity, so as they're going along the pipeline. So you can see, what's this? Added to the fitting automation. Oh no, I haven't actually changed that needs to be changed. But so yeah, we're going along the pipeline here, and then what's happening is you can see here this part of it here is saying wait until 1 day before the actual date that it's supposed to be fitted, and then you can move them to the next stage. And the next stage again is just reminding them 1 day before, this is what's happening on this date, and obviously giving them any phone numbers and emails if they need to change anything or need to make you aware of anything. Again, 10 minutes later we're following up with a text to make sure that they're actually seeing it and it's not just going in the spam folder or looking at their emails or whatever. And then on the day of actual fitting, I've put here 3 hours before, we're going to then send another message, and we're going to send the final email to say, have you read our fitting guide, and have you checked on how to prepare for us ahead of fitting your new flooring today? And again, link to the fitting guidelines. So there's literally no excuse for this customer not to be ready for when you actually turn up. And again, we send another text message, but this time we do that 2 hours before. One final kind of text message just to say these are the times and check out the fitting guide, blah blah blah, all of that kind of stuff. And then we do one last text message, and that is 30 minutes before the start time, and again just letting them know that you're coming. So you can see, like, this is over communicating what it is that's going to be happening, and all you have to do to trigger this automation is to stick someone in your calendar here and then let this do the work. And obviously if they decide that they need to reschedule or they need to cancel or you need to cancel, whatever it is, you can always just take them out of the automation and then rebook them into the calendar at another time. So this is just one example of automating your fitting process and giving the customer that extra bit of peace of mind and helping them understand what your process is and what they need to do to be ready for when you actually turn up. Right, so next automation. So landing pages, are probably going to skip over that, but basically, just really quickly, when I'm running Google Ads, I will always create specific landing pages for those ads. So I'll never run Google Ads to the actual main website, because your main website is optimized for SEO and not Google Ads. Google Ads is more about transactions and actually converting people. So I'll create landing pages for those. But one automation that I do actually with Google Ads, which you might find kind of interesting, is when someone actually fills out the contact form on the Google Ads landing page. First of all, it gives us an internal notification, so you can see the form has been submitted here. Then it gives us an internal notification to say that we've landed a Google Ads inquiry. And then what it does is it obviously tags them again. I'm saying the importance of tagging people like Google Ads lead here. So again, you can go back through your CRM. You can look at all of the people that have been Google Ads leads, and then you can work out, what's working and what isn't working and stuff like that. And then you can see it sends an email, and that's the email to the customer, and this will send an email instantaneously. There's no delay here. So basically, thanks for your inquiry, first name, so it's personal, and then just to let them know that you'll be in contact very shortly. And then it waits 5 minutes, and then it sends a text message. And the text message is basically just saying, just wanted to let you know, we have your inquiry and we'll get in touch shortly to help you with this. So basically, the reason we do this is because the quicker you can respond to a lead, the more chance you have of actually landing that lead. And I can't think of the actual statistics off the top of my head, but I have read statistics a few times from somewhere, and it is the chances of actually landing the job go down rapidly, like, within the first hour. So if you've not got in contact with that lead, literally within, I think it's like the first kind of 5 to 10 minutes or something like that, any time after that, the chances of actually getting that inquiry to convert that inquiry just keep tumbling down and down and down, to the point where if you leave it like a day, there's just no chance you're landing that lead unless everyone else that they've contacted is just awful. So with this, it means that if they inquire, whether that be on a Saturday when you're not working, Sunday when you're not working, whether it be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday evening when you're not working, even if you're not working, they're going to get this email and they're going to get that text to say that you have got the inquiry and you are going to be in contact with them very shortly. And this is a text message, and for all this comes from a mobile number, so for all they know, that's just you texting them quickly, like almost saying, I'm not around right now, but I'm going to contact you very shortly and help you with your flooring. So they might literally think that is you just texting them on the mobile, and that's going to, and then they might just think, well, that's it, sorted. Like, we've got someone, he's responded to us straight away. So we'll just wait to hear back from them properly when they give us a call. So this text message, this email is obviously important, but I think this text message is even more important. Sorry, I was clicked on the email then, but this text message is just massively important for landing Google Ads inquiries and making sure that they actually convert. So yeah, that's just the automation that I use for Google Ads. Right, next one, nurture. So this is a very, very simple automation. I think I've kind of touched on this before in other videos, but basically you should have a nurture process in place. And a nurture process is basically or like a long-term newsletter or something like that. Every person that comes into your showroom, everyone that gives you a call, everyone that fills out your contact form, everyone that inquires of you in Google Ads, people that don't necessarily go ahead with your services, whoever it is, you should be trying to capture their email at the very least and their first name and their email at the very least, and putting them into a long-term nurture sequence like this. And one of the things that, in my experience, one of the things that's kind of held me back from doing stuff in the past is thinking that I've got to do it all at one time. So, for example, you could easily get overwhelmed with creating a newsletter for your business. You could start thinking, I've got to go and start writing 50 emails to make sure that when I put people in it that they're never going to kind of you're not going to run out of content and stuff like that. You could start just overthinking it and thinking that you've got to do all of this in one go before you start adding people to it, and that's just complete the wrong way of thinking about it. What you need to do is literally just get this set up. So when someone submits a form, they're added to this. When someone submits a form on your website, your Google Ads, whatever it is, whatever the triggers you think are best to get people into this long-term newsletter, you need to be setting them up, and then you need to be getting them in here. And what you can do is, when you put people into this, if you haven't written the next email, I'm assuming you would use some similar kind of software to this, but if you haven't used, if you haven't actually written the next email, you can just put like a wait automation there. And you can just put it in there just to wait for, that should be days, but wait for 1,000 days, or 10,000 days, sorry, because, obviously 10,000 days is a very long time. So if you just put someone in there, so if you just put this wait element here, and you say wait for 10,000 days, and you put people into this automation, then they'll just hold here until you're ready to write the email. And they'll all just hold here until you're ready to write the email. You come in here and you write the email, and then you just push them through that bit there, and you put them through to the actual email itself. Then all you do is just move that 10,000 days over to this bit here, and then you just wait until you've written that next email. You can see, like this one here, I've labelled it. Wait, the next email has not been written yet. So 10,000 days. Again, they just wait there until you've written that next email. Now, ideally, you want to kind of get like a bit of a process going where you're writing an email a week, or at least an email or two emails a month, and they don't necessarily, again, don't overthink the actual email itself. I'll explain in a minute, but they don't have to be deep, kind of really high quality, not high quality, but they don't have to be extremely kind of long, deep emails giving you lots of information about flooring and all that kind of stuff. They just need to be very small touch points that people are going to keep seeing in their inbox. They're going to kind of keep getting reminded of you, and if they've inquired with you 6 months ago but they haven't actually gone ahead because there might be some reasons at home that they haven't actually gone ahead with their flooring, there's all sorts of things. But if they inquired with you 6 months and then they're getting this little drip feed of information every month, or or maybe just under every month, every 2 weeks or something like that, then you're always going to be top of mind. And when they do actually, when they are actually ready to actually come back in and actually make the purchase, they've got that reminder that you're still there and you're still waiting. So yeah, like I say, don't overthink this. Literally write 1 email a month or 2 emails a month. Just make sure that you're keeping it consistent, and then like the waiting gap. So what I would say, what I always do anyway for flooring companies is a 25-day gap, but you can do every week, you can do every 2 weeks, you can do every month, whatever it is, as long as you've got that little flow of, as long as you've got that flow of information just going through to potential customers, or even like existing or old customers, just to remind them that you're still here, and when they do need flooring, or when one of their friends does ask, do you know anyone that does flooring, they're going to be reminded of you all the time, and you're going to be the first person that they recommend. So anyway, when it comes to the actual post or the actual email itself, it doesn't need to be, like that in depth. Like for example, these are some examples that you can do. So like this one here is what we offer. This is the first email in this sequence, and basically every time someone gets added to this sequence, the first email is going to be just wanted to let you know some of the benefits of using company name, new showroom, uplift and disposal service, supply and fit, estimating service, stock of large range top brands. And then you can see there's some other some information here like 35-star reviews, blah blah blah, all of that kind of stuff. So and then some of the actual services that you offer. So that could be a very kind of brief introduction email. The next one could be like a blog post extract. So if you are writing blog articles on a kind of a monthly basis, then again you can just kind of extract a bit of information from that blog article, something that you think is going to be valuable to the customers, and then you can put it in here. One thing I would probably advise to do is to keep this relatively broad to begin with. So I would just do it on general flooring as opposed to going down the route, unless you are like a specialist in wood flooring or something like that. But if you're a flooring company that offers different types of flooring, lots of different types of flooring, then I would just keep this broad about every kind of type of flooring rather than going down one specific niche to start with. That's all I would say. Because obviously the person that's inquired 6 months ago or whatever, and you've put them into this, if they've inquired about OVT and then you're feeding them loads of stuff about laminate flooring, then they're not going to be that interested in what you're sending. You want them to be slightly interested in what you're sending anyway. Obviously the main reason for the email newsletter is to try and keep yourself top of mind as opposed to actually getting them to read it. But obviously if they're reading it, it's a bonus. But next thing you could do, email free, could be a discount or an offer just to try and entice them back in. You could say like, here's a 10% here's 10% discount or whatever. Here's a 10% discount off the fitting, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever you can do in your business. But that's another little good email that you could send out. And the thing is, with an email like that, they're quite likely to then save that. They're quite likely to bookmark it or put a little star on it or something, depending on what email they're using, or put it in a folder. So they're quite likely to read that email and then store it for the day they actually need it, providing there's no kind of expiry on it or anything like that. Then you've got email 4, FAQs. So what are common questions that people have about your business? Put those in there. Email 5, product post information. Like I said a minute ago about obviously keeping it quite broad, but you could If you are a specialist in something, then you could, just talk about that little piece of information about that particular product and service, just to show that you are a specialist in that area. Number 6 could be a blog post extract. 7, discount or offer. You can repeat this whole process over and over. You can literally just alternate between all of these, or you can go completely rogue. You can do whatever you want, but the point is you're trying to get people to see your business on a regular basis. And one little tip really would be, in the subject line, is always to put your company name, because even if they don't open that email, even if they just stick it straight in the bin, they've seen your company name. And again, it's all about keeping your brand top of mind. So that's the long-term nurture sequence, and that's the kind of automation that I use for that. Promotions. The next one is promotion. So there's only a couple of examples in here, but I've created more in other accounts. But basically, one thing that you can do is an open day. So similar to the kind of nurture sequence, if you've built up a lot of people in your CRM, people that are potential customers, people that have inquired before, past customers, whatever it is, and you have their email, you have their phone number, you have their first name, then you can create things like this. You can create like an open day. So, for example, down in your showroom, you can say, right, we're going to hold an open day for Black Friday. And you can then put them into an email sequence like this on the run-up to that open day. And basically you can say to them, the open day is on this date. We're only here for one day. These are the discounts. This is the reason to come down. And then you just send them a sequence of emails to remind them of that open day all the way up until the day before of the open day. And you'll find that is a very good way of getting people down into your showroom to actually spend money. And the good times to do these kind of promotions and these open days and stuff like that is when you're quiet, because if it's a quieter time of year, then obviously you're going to have more time to spend on these kind of things, and you can fill the gaps with promotions like these. Whereas obviously if you're already really busy, then you're not necessarily going to need to run one of these promotions and anything like that. But this is a really good kind of way to get people into your showroom and to get people to spend money at times of the years when they wouldn't necessarily always like kind of spend money, where it might be like a quiet period for your company. So think about all of the different promotions and things like that you can do. One kind of thing that would be quite a good thing to do is basically just look in the calendar and look at all of the holidays, so for example, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Easter, all of those different things. And then basically you can create a campaign for each of those. You can create like an open day or a event for each of those events in the year. And basically, once you've created all of those events, let's say that you do an event once every 2 months, so you have 6 events throughout the year. Once you've created those campaigns, you can just rerun those campaigns every single year. You don't need to keep rebuilding these campaigns. They're done. And all you need to do is just, it comes around to that time of year, you go, right, okay, this is the Christmas open day, or the run up to Christmas, the January sales open day, whatever. And then you just go, right, we'll chuck them into that sequence there. We'll obviously make sure that we're ready for this date. And then that's done. You literally don't have to do anything again. You just literally put them back into this same campaign over and over every year. And you do that 6 times a year, and you've got, 6 different events that can get people down, to spend more money than they normally would. Okay, right, reviews. Now, I'm not going to spend long on this because I actually did a whole video on this. But yeah, you want to be automating your review process, because you can obviously reach out for reviews manually. And to be honest, the most effective way of getting reviews that I've seen is combining manual and automation. So these are all of the different automations I've created, and some of the things that I've done is I've put in here like you can get a £20 Amazon voucher, or $20, whatever you want to call it, Amazon voucher if you leave us a review. You can get entered into a competition if you leave a review, and then obviously you can do like a quarterly prize draw, which means that obviously someone's going to get like a better prize than a $20 or £20 Amazon voucher. There's all sorts of things, incentives you can do to get people to leave reviews. But one of the best ways that I've seen of getting reviews is having a process where you combine manual and automation. So with these automations here, basically, let me just get like a basic one up. Where we customer review request. So you want to combine text and email. So that one there, new customer review request, text and email. So basically, like, this is an automation to get reviews, and all you do, let me zoom in a bit more, is it sends them out a text saying how will you rate us between 1 and 5. Whatever they text back is depending on what funnel they go down. If they text anything 4 and above, so they text a 4 and if they text a 4 or a 5, then that's worthy of a review. Obviously 4's not perfect, but I'd say you're still better off getting that review than not getting it. So you want to send them down these funnels here, where you basically just ask them for the review and send them the link to your Google Business profile. If it's below a 4, so a 3, 2 and a 1, then we don't send them the link to your Google Business profile. We just try and find out what the problem was and then try and rectify it. This will retry up to 5 times, so it will retry up to 3 times with text and then 2 times with email. So we try and get them on 2 different channels. And that's a very basic automation for Google reviews. And then the best thing to do, from what I've seen, is to combine this with manual outreach as well. So basically, once you've finished the job, you could then give them a card, like a review card, on site, and you can ask them to leave a review then by scanning the QR code. If they don't do that, there and then you can leave it with them. And then the following day, or within the week of fitting, you can ring them up and actually ask them for their feedback about how the project went, and if they're happy with it. And if they say yes, they're happy with it, then you just literally ask them on the phone, can you leave us a review if I send you over the link now? They say yes, hopefully. Jump off the phone, you send them the review link. Now, if those 2 methods don't initially work, so if you give them the card and they don't scan it and they don't leave a review, and then you ring them up and they verbally say yes, they'll leave a review, but they still don't do it, then you can put them into this automation. And then you don't need to think about it again, because all you're doing is just sending them some text messages, and you're sending them some emails until they've actually left a review. And it's worth noting that, like, you know, all these text messages and all of these emails, they all send at different times of the day. So the reason that's important is because, like, if you sent this text message at 9 o'clock every day, or you sent this email at 9 o'clock every day, you might find that that's just the time of the day that the person you're trying to contact, is just not available. And they do mean to leave a review, but they just kind of, it's not the right time for them, and then they forget by the time it gets to the evening. So by staggering these, by doing one at 9 or 8, one at 11, 12, one at 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, you're catching people at different times of the day, and then you'll hopefully catch them at one of the right times, one of the times that they're actually available, and then they go ahead and leave you a review. So yeah, that's the reviews. Like I say, I did a whole video on this, so I'm not going to go too much into this. So, okay, right, the last automation is a sales automation. So that is the hot lead follow-up automation. So the hot lead follow-up automation is basically when someone comes into your showroom, or someone gives you a call, they fill out your contact form, and they are keen to buy. They're close to actually wanting to purchase some flooring. When that happens, and they're a very hot lead, and they've left your showroom, you've just spoken to on the phone, you stick them into this automation here. And again, important that you tag them so that we know they're a hot lead follow-up. And then this does wait 3 days, but obviously it's completely up to you how quickly you wanted to contact them after initially speaking to them. And then you send them some emails and some text messages to keep on their case about trying to get them to purchase the flooring. Because quite often the sale is in the follow-up, not there and then. Some people will not make a expensive decision there and then. They want to gather the information, then make that decision later on. And you never know, they might be going to other people's, they might be going to other flooring showrooms, they might be getting more quotes from elsewhere. And if they are, then you want to make sure that you're kind of getting in the way of that a little bit. So the first email is going to be obviously like completely up to you, but like the first email that I do is just a quick follow up, and then if you feel like if you feel like you can offer discount to get them over the line, then this first email could be just to let you know we're currently offering a 10% discount, whatever the terms are. And then get them to claim the discount. Don't just give them the discount in the email. Literally, you want to get them to go onto a website, onto a page that you've built, fill out a form, and actually claim that discount code. And to claim the discount code, they have to fill out the form, because then you know that this person has actually seen this email and they've clicked the claim link, and they've actually filled in their details to get that code. And then if that happens, they are extremely close to actually purchasing. But yeah, so what you can do anyway is get them to do that, and then that's the first touch point straight after you've actually spoken to them. Like, you don't have to necessarily give out a discount code straight away. You can leave that later on, but this is just the kind of standard automation that I've built at the moment. Then if they've provided a mobile number, if they have provided it, that they will go down this route here. And basically they've got another text message straight away. And again, just saying, like, are you happy, with the service, blah, 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 and any questions that you got, obviously feel free to call. If they haven't got a mobile number, or they haven't given you a mobile number, they'll skip that step and they'll go through to the email, just emails. And then what we're trying to do is just trying to give them more information to make them feel comfortable about going ahead with your services. So you can see here, you want to highlight a few reviews that you've got. You can just go onto your Google business profile, screenshot a few, and then stick them in here. They'll get that email. Again, you can dangle a carrot again and try and get them to claim the discount code. And then again, you can send them another email showing another review, offering the discount as well, and then perhaps bullet pointing some kind of benefits and things like that. So you don't necessarily need to follow up a lot. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 times, 5 messages since they left your showroom, or they filled out the contact form, or had a chat with you on the phone. And you can see, like, this goes off every 6 days, every 4 days. The interval between these messages is completely up to you, but every few days is about right. And then lastly, once they've gone through this process, if they still haven't come back and made a decision, lastly, what's going to happen is they're going to go into the workflow here, they're going to come out of this workflow, sorry, and then they're going to go into the long-term newsletter, what I was showing you earlier. And then you can nurture them for months and months and months and months. But you've done your best to try and get them over the line initially. So yeah, you can use all kinds of incentives there. You can use discount codes. You can use reviews, case studies, actual testimonials of people standing in front of a camera or whatever. All sorts of things to try and entice them in, to try and get them to actually purchase after they've actually spoken to you. So that's the hot lead follow-up. So there we go. They are the main automations that I wanted to show you. Like I say, I've built absolutely tons more, but these are the kind of main basic ones, I would say. And hopefully this has given you some ideas at how you can kind of automate some processes in your business, and perhaps kind of take it forward, take it up that notch. Try and remove some of the manual processes in your business. Try and save a bit of money, save a bit of time. Obviously, give your customers a better experience, and make you more money, essentially. So obviously I hope you found that helpful. Any questions, let me know, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next one.